This Greek myth is called Apollo and Daphne. There was one god who was younger than all the others. Cupid was no more than a boy, but for all that, he was trusted to look after the most important thing of all, falling in love. With his bow and arrows, he could shoot straight into the heart of any man or woman. And once his arrows struck, there was no cure for the wound. One day, when Apollo, the sun god, saw Cupid, the boy, with his tiny bow and arrow, he laughed rudely and said, "What's a baby carrying the weapons of a warrior? You should leave archery to grown-ups like me." Cupid was so angry that he took a gold-tipped arrow from his quiver and shot it point blank into Apollo's chest. The sun god felt no pain. Well, only a pang. "Ha! Is that the best you can do?" he jeered at Cupid. Apollo thought he knew all about love. Women were always falling in love with him because he was so handsome. But only when Cupid's golden arrow pierced him did he find out how it felt for him to be in love himself. His eye came to rest on Daphne, a water nymph, daughter of the river Peleus. And all at once, she was Daphne, his passion, his dearest darling, his one true desire. Then Cupid fired a second arrow tipped, this time with lead. It pierced Daphne's breast and filled her heart not with love, but with loathing. From that moment, she hated all men. "Daphne, I love you," declared Apollo. But Daphne took to her heels and ran. Through the woods she ran, across the meadows and mountains. "Come back, Daphne! Where are you going? Why are you running away? I love you! I only want to kiss you and hold you close and tell you how much I love you." "Leave me alone!" cried Daphne. "I don't want your love! I don't want your kisses! Stop following me!" She was fast, but Apollo was faster. He began to catch up with her so that when he reached out, he could feel her hair brush the tips of his fingers. "Don't be afraid. I wouldn't hurt you, would I, loving the way that I do for you?" The harder she ran, the more he wanted to catch her. Down ran Daphne to the bank of the river. "Oh, Father River, help me, please. He has hold of me by the hair. Save me from Apollo." When the river saw how afraid she was, he took pity on her. "Got you!" cried Apollo triumphantly, catching hold of both her arms. But suddenly his hands were full of splinters. Ahead of him, Daphne stopped so suddenly that he bloodied his nose and scraped his shins against bark. For Daphne's brown feet had slipped into soil and taken root, and her arms had turned to branches, and her tears to falling leaves. The river had turned her to a green bay tree, and there she stood, trembling, but only because of the breeze. "I wanted you for my own," cried Apollo. "If I can't have you as a woman, I'll have you as you are. From today onwards, I declare that the bay tree is sacred to me, the god Apollo. Let every victorious hero returning from the wars, every emperor and king be crowned with a wreath of bay leaves, because Apollo's first love was the green bay tree." Then he brushed the leaves out of his hair and looked about him for a more friendly woman, one who would smile at him rather than run away. All right, so I know it was a love story, year 6, but what does that tell you? What is the moral of that myth? I'll leave you, let you think about that.